Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the new SKS Marksman rifle. I did the Renetti in the last episode and the VLK in the episode before that. They're both linked down there below in the description. So all the new guns are being covered, and you can unlock the SKS for free by leveling up your battle pass. It really doesn't take that long. I think this one's tier 31, which is roughly 3 weeks worth of work, and it's not that hard. In my opinion, the SKS is very good in base multiplayer as a DMR, but it's poor as a sniper. It also has kind of, we'll say, interesting performance in Warzone. It has some viability there, but it's a little bit difficult to use. And in my opinion, again, the SKS feels more like an FAL competitor than anything else, and I don't think it's quite the same as the EBR, but let's take a look at the damage. It will one-shot kill to the head at 100 damage plus. That's in relatively close range. It's like a 50-meter headshot. The chest will deal 57 damage up close, and the limbs will deal 48 damage up close. And close for this weapon could be anywhere between 50 and 100 meters. At very extreme ranges, you will have some damage drop off, so you might take 1 or 2 more shots to kill. On the topic of shots to kill, what this means is that, again, minus extreme ranges, you're going to one-shot kill to the head, 2 to the chest, or 3 to the limbs, so very few shots to kill in most circumstances. Warzone requires 3 shots to kill to the head or 5 body shots, at least according to the math at 250 HP for a full armored target, but the in-game damage may differ because it seems like the developers are tuning body and headshot multipliers for all of the snipers and all of the DMRs independently in Battle Royale, so I can't with 100% certainty tell you that the math, the way it's supposed to work in multiplayer, is going to apply in Warzone because of those multiplier changes. The rate of fire is 325 rounds per minute, which is slightly slower than the EBR. A little bit surprised by that. It felt pretty good. The time to kill in base multiplayer is kind of fast. If you 2-tap enemies successfully, it'll put you down there closer to like the faster killing SMGs like the MP5 if you just tap. Of course, it's extremely fast if you insta headshot, but it maintains that fast time to kill over some extremely impressive ranges, which we are about to talk about. The base SKS will not get any damage drop off until 65 meters, which is just colossal. The FTAC landmark barrel on this will increase it up to 90 meters, which is ranges that you're just going to struggle to hit people with this gun. The smallest barrel, the FSS PARAB, still 2 shots at 60 meters, so only an extremely minor penalty there. And the FSS M59 super heavy barrel that also supposedly reduces recoil will take you up to 108 meters. Like pretty much everything else in the game, the monolithic suppressor is 20%. I think I'm just kind of putting that in there because everybody asks about it. But now that we know what some of the barrels do, let's take a look at them in terms of aim down sights time. The base ADS time on the SKS is 250 milliseconds, which in my opinion is fast. The FTAC landmark barrel, which is a heavier barrel and is supposed to slow down your aim down sights, actually doesn't. That's still 250. The FSS PARAB, 216, so a few frames faster. And the M59 is significantly slower at 300 milliseconds. And interestingly, the TAC laser is just as effective as the shorter barrel, but that's not all. There's so many different attachments that affect ADS on this weapon. The sawed-off stock will massively decrease your aim down sights time down to 200 milliseconds, so that's extremely important to have if you want to run a snappy class. 30-round mags is 267, so a 1-frame penalty, and the 10-round mags, which doesn't seem to decrease your aim down sights time at all, that's still 250, and if you put the custom PU scope on there, which is the one that I will recommend for long range, it's 283 milliseconds. Of course, some of the bigger, heavier scopes will add aim down sights time. Sprint out times on this weapon are odd. The base sprint out time is 283 milliseconds, which is roughly the same as the ADS, so that's fine. And the 10-round mags, which are supposed to decrease your sprint out time, don't do anything. So that's kind of odd. It's kind of odd that the 10-round mags don't help you with ADS or help you with sprint out time. So I'm really not quite sure what they're good for. What is interesting, though, is the minimum handling stats. So your sprint out, you can't really change. That's 283. But the SKS can minimum aim down sights is 150 milliseconds, which is extremely fast. It's more like a pistol, more like an SMG when fully kitted. That is an incredibly snappy weapon for how much damage you can put out, and especially considering you can one-shot to the head. You can actually build a really snappy SKS if you want to, and in my opinion, you have to work kind of hard to make it slow. Yes, the heavier attachments will slow it down a little bit, but you have to put some effort in to make it an actually slow, miserable handling weapon. Its handling is quite good. And interestingly, recoil does not seem to be significantly impacted by any barrel choice. Exclusive Ace went over this in his videos, and that was basically the same as my testing. There's some impacts, yes, but the recoil changes by barrel are very minimal. I will say the no stock can be a little bit rough, so I tend to run compensator if I'm going to run that. That's why I prefer the FTAC landmark barrel. It gives me about a 50% range boost that has no ADS penalties, and the recoil reduction isn't any different than base, and it's not much different than the much heavier barrel. So I think that for the extra speed and range and relatively no penalties, the FTAC landmark is the best barrel to go for. Surprisingly, I like the iron sights. I hate the iron sights in so many guns and so much you guys give me crap about it, but the iron sights are good for your snappy up-close SKS work. You're not going to be able to iron sight people, or you shouldn't be able to, at very extreme ranges, but if you want to use this like a close range kind of DMR, like an FAL or like a kitted out EBR or something, iron sights are just fine. They're not hard to use. The 30-round mags are nice in Warzone, but they're not really needed in regular multiplayer. Like, in Warzone, it's kind of nice to have some extra bullets to spam at people and just kind of to have extra ammo capacity, but in base multiplayer, you just don't need that at all. And the 10-round mag overall seems pretty useless. It doesn't change your ADS or sprint out time, so I literally just don't use it at all. On the topic of magazines, you will be reloading this quite a lot. The full reload time, if you have a round still chambered, is 1.58 seconds, which is pretty swift. However, if you fully empty the weapon and go through the full animation for the empty reload, that's 2.75 seconds, which is a huge jump. I would always reload with 1 or 2 bullets in there because that'll just save you a lot of reload time. Like the other DMRs, wall bangs are very easy to do. I didn't go for these very much in the video, but DMRs in this game just have high wall pen values. You can put FMJ on and pepper people. I tend not to because my ammo is precious for this, especially in Warzone where I don't get to carry that much sniper ammo. But if you do want to try to wall bang people, it is workable. In my opinion, the SKS is actually a very good fast DMR type weapon for regular multiplayer. As a matter of fact, in regular multiplayer, it might be my favorite semi-automatic weapon. I think I like it better than the FAL and the EBR. It has a very solid feel to it, very extreme range. It can be kitted in ways that make it almost a pure bonus weapon with very few drawbacks. And I think it's best used as the no-stock, like in-your-face, snap headshot kind of DMR. It's a very high skill weapon. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think a lot of you that are used to fully automatic fire might struggle with it, but it's quite good. And I can't say that it's outright good in Warzone. It takes a lot of shots to kill. Damage isn't too crazy. You're going to run out of ammo really fast. It's got some downsides. But I will say that it's at least viable in Warzone. It deals respectable damage. It does hurt people. You can do some work with the SKS in Warzone, but I think that in that mode you have better overall choices. I'd probably rather have an FAL, and I would definitely rather have a real sniper, which is something that I do want to say. There's one thing I can say absolutely for certain about both modes, is that you should not challenge true snipers with the SKS. This is my problem with DMRs all the time. I think, well, you know, I've got low recoil. I can just double tap them real quick while they're lining up their shots. But usually snipers, at least in this game, are so far away that I need to hit them 3 times. And by that time, the recoil goes to pot and they just one shot me to the head with like no fall off or anything. I had a miserable time in Ground War and in Warzone trying to fight real snipers with this weapon. At the end of this in-depth episode, I have 2 classes to recommend to you. Number 1 is my fast reaction class. I run sawed-off stock, tac laser, and the 16-inch PARAB barrel so that I can have an extremely fast weapon. It aim down sights really fast, and it's going to sprint out as fast as possible. This does make the recoil kind of miserable, so on top of that, I run a compensator, and then for the 5th attachment, you can choose either or. You can either run the focus perk, which reduces your flinch and can really help you in trades and gunfights, or you could run some kind of grip, commando, foregrip, ranger grip, whatever kind of grip you feel that you need. It's kind of a choice there between mitigating flinch or mitigating recoil, and if you just pick the first 4, the last one won't affect it that much. And the next one I'm going to recommend is the kinda okay long range setup. I like the PU 7X scope more than any of the others. It's clear, it's fast, it doesn't hurt your ADS too much, it's easy to aim with, got nice mil dots. I run the FTAC FTAC landmark barrel on this so that it has the best range with the least ADS penalty. Monolithic suppressor because this is for Warzone and I like being suppressed. I'll run a commando grip to decrease that horizontal recoil. I'll deal with the vertical. And then for number 5, again, we kind of have a split choice here. You can either run tac laser to further increase or decrease your aim down sights time and make this a snappier weapon, or you can run focus so that you flinch less. So you're kind of choosing between speed or flinch, and that's just kind of up to you guys. Personally, most of the time at range, at least, I went with tac laser and I went with focus a little bit more up close. That is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you have enjoyed it. I hope that you have learned something useful. And it's kind of incredible to me that we are still going with this so many months after launch. It's really the measure of a good Call of Duty game with how many episodes of In Depth I have been able to make. And I hope that I'm able to make quite a few more of these in the future for you. And what I wanted to ask is in the comments below, please let me know what topics you would like to see covered next. As always, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.